quiet. I'm awfully subdued. Did that last tape put you in trance or something? What's your question? You have to speak up.
First one's from Glenwood.
We don't care who they're from.
I've been programming my inner mind with things such as I will not respond with love and irritability.
I've got to stop you because I don't see pennies. I don't see them turn right. This is the meeting with things. Go ahead now. You can worry about yours when you get through.
I've been programming my inner mind with things such as I will not respond with irritability. Since I'm also programming to eliminate all negatives such as I can, would my programming have more consistency and potency if I change my programs into all positives, such as I will eliminate all irritable responses?
Always be better to program it with a positive.
You have to, I think we felt like we answered that you had to replace the negative with positive. You can't just try to eliminate the negative without putting a positive in its place.
Because he hasn't heard the tape.
Oh, that's right. Okay, go ahead.
Our alarm signals from the inner mind are automatic. Example, if I program that I will follow every procedure to the letter, then add an alarm signal will go off whenever I begin to stray from the procedure. Am I diluting the program in some way by adding excess?
You can't add too much. You can't, in other words, we can't over-program, if I understand the question right. And whether or not the alarm works automatic depends upon how deeply imprinted the program is. In other words, you have to do it and do it and do it and do it and desire for that automatic response. And if it's clearly put into the computer and it's put in repeatedly so that it has made a good imprint, then you would begin to get an automatic alarm at a wrong action. That's
But
management.
you have to have it in your conscious mind also. In other words, you can't, it's fine to program the computer and all, but he also has to be aware of it. He has to do it consciously.
Yes, you can't. That's a good point. You can't just turn it over to the inner mind and say, well, then the inner mind be my alarm clock. You've got to desire to be aware of it both in your conscious mind and let your inner mind or your soul assist you. Okay? What else?
Clarification of erasing tapes. And the only time I erase tapes when I'm reprogramming, I'm just overriding the old tapes with the next level programs. Or are there ways to work directly on erasing? Is it an effective way to say that is a negative thought and it's not a program? Is to be stopped whenever it occurs when I'm confronted with a human or negative thought?
In other words, you don't erase anything. You just stop it and replace it with a positive. But I believe this last statement that you heard.
Yes,
Do you
because...
think that was the answer you heard?
Sure. If you try to rehash the negative in order to erase it, you're inviting problems. So there's no sense in taking the old negative tape out and examining it.
Just like in your instance, where you write so much about your book, you're just having all of your book, and you don't need to listen to it that much. You don't need to analyze it that much. Just leave it alone. Let those negative things go away, and counteract it with a positive. But I think this tape should. Anytime you entertain any negative thoughts, you've got to replace them with positive thoughts. Actually, you shouldn't even entertain them. As soon as you feel it coming in, then you counteract it with the positive.
Even if the best you can do is keep your hand on the cap for the time that, yes, just to keep it from coming out. Was that all? Okay, how about you? I guess we lost. Trying to put it in words. own inner mind? It doesn't matter. In a sense, it's better to say you, because the conscious mind is where you're keeping where you're talking I more. We don't want to, it makes us feel uncomfortable to talk in terms of the pronouns to use because of all these spiritual groups on trying to locate the I and all that kind of stuff. So,
you can't take our words when we're talking to you because we're saying to you, we're not, no.
But in talking to your own inner mind or your inner soul, you can say you because it is something separate from your conscious mind.
Whatever works for you.
Yeah.
You can do that.
It is the subconscious which healers use in healing things that go wrong, like so-called psychic healing or so. They're talking to the subconscious or to the inner mind or to the soul and trying to stop destructive processes. But they can start so immediately back if the root of the thing has not been resolved, which is usually the root of what is going wrong is still thinking, the kind of thinking which still causes that. In other words, even the way you think, you had to learn that you've got to change the way you think and the habit of thinking. But first of all, we're not really that interested in making your physical body perfect again. We would rather apply that effort on your spiritual body. Now, it doesn't matter, apply a little bit of effort if you've got an ache or a pain on telling your inner mind to stop that, whatever's going on that's causing that to happen, and to think of it as healed, as we have given you in meditation, as far as ailments are concerned. But what we want you to concentrate on is your spiritual body, or your next level body.
Was it not clear that you will not keep these bodies? No, we want to keep it as well,
yes,
so that you won't have physical problems in the process of getting your spiritual body in shape or ready to be born.
Is that what you're saying? Yes.
Just take your vitamins and things like that. But
so that it doesn't interfere with you.
But we don't care about rejuvenating.
No. And when we were talking about the potential of the inner mind, we were talking about how the inner mind or the soul or the computer, by being able to program it to stop its interference, to stop its negativity and all, it enables us then to spend more effort on building our spiritual body. But we're not, like humans would be very, very interested in using the capacity of the inner mind in making their physical body perfect. And we're not really that concerned with, we don't care any longer because we know that the body that you will have is different from what we call the physical body. Did you want to say anything more?
I wanted to ask Prasodia if she remembered the procedure about wearing garments. No turtleneck of any kind. That's what you're... Any kind sweater. In other words, anything like that you would not wear. So procedures always no turtlenecks under anything other than a shirt like all those.
With a collar.
Okay. Put this on tape so others will understand also.
Rodota, you had a question?
I've got a line in my program that says I follow all procedures and instructions and I do everything accurate. But I thought I understood some of the here's why I think the program is specifically have specific items to the question that making changes like I do at the beginning is sufficient to verify all procedures. I just wanted to verify that things are going to work on these.
Yes, when you say I want to remember all procedures, it doesn't do a bit of good unless all the particulars have been carefully programmed and repeatedly programmed and repeatedly programmed. Because what you're doing when you say I want to remember all procedures is you're just taking a shortcut to say I want you to help me recall all of those specifics I have instilled in my computer. Because there's no way that that computer is going to be that general. It's only specifics that it can help you with.
Okay, I'm going to ask my question.
Okay.
Where'd you get this sweatshirt? Did we just bring it in recently with the new clothes? Okay, but where did it come from? Where did it get to in the craft? How did it get in the craft? Things hasn't brought one of the ages. We have brought a lot of new clothing in. Now, we went over this. When you come to retreat, we would like for you all to look nice. We send enough clothing for everybody to have, to be able to wear new clothing. Aren't there any? See, we gave instructions, we thought, to put all old clothing into access. And that no old clothing is to be worn unless we have reason to believe that, if I'm not mistaken, when you feel that's one that Lynx had years ago, and that's pretty old. In other words, if we don't have enough things to wear, we want to know about it, where you don't have to revert back to the old things.
Do you think that you're to wear older things on walks or something? There's no coat. You don't have coats. Well, you don't want to think. You want to go by procedure. And
we're putting this on tape so others will know about it also. Because we have seen individuals come up here, and when they're ready to leave, they have on some old clothes. They might have on their new pants, but they have on old clothes.
And they say, well, I've worn new clothes up here.
But the thing of it is, we want you all to think differently in regards to that. If you don't have adequate clothes to wear, we want to know about it. If you have not, but we don't want you pulling things out of the old clothes in order to wear them. Old clothes we thought were to be used for bottle signs and yard work and dirty work. But when you come to retreat, why do you not want to look nice? Why do you not want to let me see how those things look on you?
And we think there are adequate clothes for walks or anything else, so we don't, if there aren't, then like Dee said, we want to know about it. So, but every time now that a group has come up, we still see old things appearing at times, according to us, that we feel are contrary to instruction.
See, that is even prior to you all going to work, some of them going on Outcrown Pass, what you did on there. Because we had to find it, that when we were temperance. And so that's kind of old. It's still in okay shape, but the point we're getting at is we thought that the instructions had come up where the individuals, you would retire some of those things. Now, the more recent clothes, since you have, since the ones have taken out of craft basket, they're still wearable, you can keep them in your work. But if they're in okay shape. But things prior to that, we thought that we had we didn't actually give the ton as far as how old the clothes should be. But we did, it never dawned on me that you all still had sweatshirts and things like that were, that you all were still wearing. If I'm not mistaken, somebody else had that on just the other day.
Yes, that's it. If it isn't totally retired, it has to be just for dirty work, right? Let me, are there any questions?
The most important thing you all have to realize is that we are very clear. We're giving you some negative things so you can counteract. We're giving you some medicine right now, okay? And anybody else is affected by it. And so counteract it with positive. We're not doing it deliberately. You brought it on yourself. You see what we're saying? When you're up here, we expect you to stick to the procedure, to the letter. We expect it up there also, but we expect it more so up here. It's just like yesterday morning, somebody used mortar before 6:30, and we didn't get a note on why we didn't, so we're still, why they did use it, why they broke procedure. That's our own concern. We're not concerned about the mortar. We're concerned about the broken procedure. So we'll wait. Hopefully, whoever did use it about 6:15 will give us a note before. If it's some of you all, then you all will give us a note about it. Okay? If it's somebody else, we expect to know. You can't get away with much up here.
Still have to program particular procedures.
Yes, yes, that's too general. But what we're trying to do, see, the reason we said that is because your boogers or the negative aspects of your inner mind would have you believe that you can't be in tune with our inner minds, and we say you can be if you desire it very, very strongly, and you can even think in those terms. Doesn't hurt you. Does that sound strange to you? Well, I told them on one of those tapes that even through their inner mind, they could be more in tune with our inner mind if they desired it.
No, but the point of it is, the task is not to get in tune with the mind. Because the way he said it, it sounded to me like being in tune with our mind would help them be able to do things, or, in other words, the effort would be on us and not on yourself. That's not what you're striving for, to be in tune with our minds.
That's because that would be like saying if I can really be in tune with their inner minds, then I don't have to do particular procedures. And if you're really in tune with our inner minds, you do procedures very, very particularly. The only thing that you might desire there is how to approach those particular procedures, or how to be ahead of the game, or how to have foresight. But the point he's making is you don't want to think in terms like that and rely upon it as a general shortcut, because that would like prevent you of thinking of programming the particulars for procedures.
I would refrain from using that kind of method, even though that's your motive. Your desire is to program your own computer, and then you will automatically be in tune with our minds.
If it's thoroughly, the more it's programmed, the more it's automatically going to be in tune.
I didn't really understand what you did. That's why I asked.
Yes, I understand that. Yes, well, that's good that you asked.
If we could do it by getting you all in tune with our minds, we would have done it a long time.
We'd plug one in one ear and one in one finger. Tell Liddy. Not strong enough. Should be, I will not be influenced by by others. In other words, you want to be influenced only by procedures. You don't want to take other people's word for procedures, and you don't want to let the human mind enter in to be influenced by others in any way. There's one thing that's kind of a fun thing to think about is when the humans think, the human religions talk about being filled with the Holy Spirit, and that's what you're desiring to be right now, is to get your next level mind, which is, in a sense, pure, Holy Spirit. You're trying to get it filled so that your body is complete, so that your next level body is complete. Can you understand that? So in a sense, you have a better understanding of what they think that they are striving for. They want to be knocked over the head with something that's called the Holy Spirit that makes them have a big emotional sensation and a conversion. And of course, you're the only ones that know what conversion is anyhow, because that's what you're doing, is converting everything to next level ways, which is actually then, as we talked on the tape, a conversion of building this body. And don't think that just because we call it spirit, that it is what you as a human might have thought of spirit, because it is not ether, and it is not thought forms. It is a solid form.
We feel like, and how right it is, we feel like the spirit body, we're used part of this vehicle.
Yes.
Like maybe use the bone structure. And it's so that whenever the spirit body comes out, then this will leave nothing but residual.
Probably like a pile of ashes.
Right. In other words, it'll just be a different substance altogether, but it will be just as solid as that. And of course, we don't feel like the organs and all, the colon and the gallbladder and all that stuff, because there's no need for it. Getting back to what Tom Bodie asked a moment ago, you don't want to block out being in programming your computer. You don't want to block out something by saying, I'm not going to be influenced by that. What you want to do is to be keen, so that you are not influenced by that. Because you're adding a positive there. You're developing a keen instead of
See, I am not going to be is a negative approach to it. Instead of I'm going to be so keen.
I want to be keen enough to
respond only to instructions.
Not be influenced by somebody. I want to be keen enough to stop these tapes before they get so far they need to go. I want to be keen enough to replace that negative with a positive. But I'm not going to do this is you're adding negativism to your computer, and that's what you choose.
Trying to identify to your inner mind what a negative is, you have to identify each negative specifically. Of course, there's some basic program that you can feed into your inner mind that will help it relate in a general way what negatives are and use that as a basis
No, you're not asking your inner mind to sort out the negatives. You're doing you must not have understood what T just said, because what T said is you're not going to erase negatives. Remember, we said that a minute ago, and you're not going to add negatives. So what you're going to do as you program things in, you're going to learn to say them in a positive way. Like the thought came to Tom Bodie, I'm tired of being influenced by others. So what he's going to program to his inner mind is, I am going to be so keen that I can't be influenced. I am going to be so keen that I'm ahead of the game, and I stop what would have been a negative response before it happens. This is the kind of programming you're going to do. Don't expect the inner mind to do. You can't say you're going to take negatives as they come into my conscious mind and turn them into positives. Don't expect the inner mind to do that. It's only going to do simple, direct tasks. It can't do indirect.
There are no simple ways, any more than they can punch a few keys on a computer and it knows the whole program. The only way for the computer to know the whole program would be for it to be programmed in. And then after that, you can punch a few keys and it will start the whole thing over. But when you're programming the computer, you have to think in detail. And every time a negative thing comes up, that means you have to program that into a positive. And once you do all that, then there may be keywords that will happen. But hopefully by that time we'll be out of here.
Okay, so you're saying,
Well, that's always proceeding before you go to bed. I'm going to awaken in the morning feeling wide awake, full of energy. And exploring the night all day. You don't want to limit it to just the morning because in the afternoon you can come back to it.
so what I was getting at, you wouldn't use the approach of say that in your mind, being
It's automatic. You don't need to go through all that. You know it's a negative thing. You're just going to program the positives. When I awaken, I'm going to have an immediate, I'm going to do this repeatedly, I'm going to have an immediate awareness of here's a time when I need to exert the effort to be keen and alive. That's not a negative. That's just asking for triggering, being keen enough to know here's an area that needs alertness.
If you are having, let's use another circumstance where you can program a negative in without thinking. Let's say that you have a bad response to someone you're working with, more than somebody else. You don't want to say to yourself, I'm not going to have any more negative responses to Lodi or whoever it is. What you want to do is say, I want to have only positive reactions to so-and-so. I want to have only positive reactions to the task that I'm doing. In other words, don't ever waste your computer space with, I don't want to have a negative response to something.
Which is the negative.
In other words, you want to eliminate negative altogether. It's just easier, and you can work more quickly. Now, when you get a negative response from somebody, you want to think, here's an opportunity for me to not accept that negative in the way that it appears to be coming to me, and convert it into a positive. See how you can convert it into a positive. You don't have to say to them what I said to President a moment ago. I'm giving you some negative so that you can translate it into a positive. In other words, we don't want you all to pick up that lingo. That was just for your teachers to use. And we're only using it so that you can become aware of that type of action. That's how you build your spirit body. The more quickly you build it, the sooner we can get out of it. And so you don't want to be put in an incubator when you leave here, but even if you are, it doesn't matter. But you want to be able to lose this vehicle and be able to begin work, because you came here for a reason, and you certainly didn't come here to go back and stay in a premature nursery.
Excuse me. We're going to have to stop because of your time limited. I keep seeing Abe's appear, and I don't know why you all haven't practiced this on how to get those pendants. Like why you haven't done it in the mirror or done something. We haven't said you can't take the clasp off before the meeting, turn it around. We haven't told you couldn't do that. But I see, while we sit with you, I see one right after another out of control, which means you haven't rehearsed it. You haven't figured out how to do it. And to me, this is just an example of a lot of things that you do. You want to do them, but you don't really exert the effort to figure out how to do them. The things that we give you to do, and rehearse them so that you know you can count on doing them. A little more medicine. Okay?
Quickly, why would somebody set an alarm to get up at 4 a.m.? Does somebody go to work at 4 a.m.? Or close shortly after that?
She gets up, she goes to work at 5:30 or something.
Okay. But she's not getting up halfway through her downtime.
I think what was wrong with that, if I'm not mistaken, was that she was going down later than she should, according to instructions,
Oh, I see.
if she's going to get up that early in order to get to her task.
See, this might
So-
be why she has trouble with you.
They have gone over it with her, I believe, that she must go down sooner, that she can't stay up that late. She's been fudging on going down.
She goes down at 8:15 and 8:20, so she should go down at 8:10.
Right.
We want you all to go down on time.
On time means on time.
If you can't go down on time, then you can't be trusted elsewhere on anything else. I think these are my mistakes. You all put things about the juicer on the instruction sheet here. I can call somebody on the corner. And Dodie can stop